meeting started. Yes, okay, now we'll get the meeting started. So welcome to the Lewiston Planning and Zoning Commission, our regular meeting for May 13th, 2026 at 5:30. So just going down the agenda, call to order, done that. Item 2 on our agenda is citizens' comments. So this is just an opportunity for citizens to address the commission with comments and or questions about planning and zoning commission related matters that are not a public hearing action item on the agenda. And I assume you gentlemen are here for the public hearing, so anything emailed, called, snail mailed in?
Not for general, no.
All right. Well, perfect. Then that moves us on to item number 3, which is our active agenda. So first item on our agenda is approval of the April 22nd, 2026 meeting minutes. I looked them over, thought they looked good. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
So motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor to approve the April 22nd, 2026 meeting minutes as presented, say aye.
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 Oh, you gotta do it, Maureen.
Aye.
Can you unmute the one where your picture is at? Because when you did that one, it came in clear without the reverb, but whatever the second connection is, that's where the reverb is at.
I think, yeah, I think it's because she has 2 connections going.
Yeah, that's why.
It
I don't
usually
know how
does
to
that.
make the second connection go away.
It's on her end.
Yeah.
One's
When-
the phone and one's the computer.
When she
correct?
confirmed it before, she unmuted the one where her image is at.
Yeah. So item B on our active agenda is considering approval of the reason statement of relevant criteria and standards for conditional use permit application CUP 26-3 by Bennett Manley. This is an action item. I did look over the reason statement. It did include our additional criteria. I thought it looked good. So with that, I will entertain any thoughts, motions.
Motion to approve the reason statement as written for CUP 26-3.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor to approve to approve CUP 26-3 as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Maureen,
Maureen?
you have to, your
have to-
voice has to actually come over, otherwise you cannot participate.
Yeah, you have to unmute. Unless you can't. Maybe that's why she had 2.
She was able to before.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna go 6-0.
All right, so item 3, or item C on our active agenda is initiation of zoning code amendment ZA-03-26, and this is an action item.
Okay, so in your packet, so ZA 0326, so the legislature passed several different items that are going to be coming in front of this board so that we can update city code to match. So this is the first one. So this is amending the definition of dwelling multifamily and then also the definition of Class A manufactured home to comply with House Bill 800. So you'll see in your packet, you were given a redlined version from city code. So this adds to the definition of dwelling multifamily, including a multifamily dwelling unit manufactured home containing more than 2 dwelling units that is constructed after June 15th, 1976 in accordance with the HUD manufactured home construction and safety standards. And then ditto, dwelling 2-family means detached building, including a multi-dwelling manufactured home containing 2 dwelling units, same language there. And then moving down into our actual definition of a Class A manufactured home, which is the same, we treat those the same as any other stick-built single-family dwelling in the city of Lewiston, so they're allowed in all of our residential zones, et cetera, et cetera. changing that from shall be multi-sectional and close a space of not less than 1,000 square feet, reducing that down to 800 square feet. And then all the other things match what was in that House Bill 800. So just changing the 1,000 to 800 on that Class A definition. That's
Is it essentially just a cleanup of code to match the
to match
the
the state
legislation?
legislation. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, just making what we have match what has been changed by the state.
Questions? Thoughts, concerns?
Never pass.
So all questions go to you.
Right, ask away. On the business committee, came through there anyway, so.
And then is this just a voice vote approval or?
So we're initiating the
Oh,
zoning
that's
code
what it
amendment, and then
is.
we'll
So-
schedule for public hearing. So we just need someone to
I mean, I'll make
motion to
the
initiate.
motion to initiate zoning code amendment ZA-03-26.
I'll second that.
Perfect. It's been moved and seconded. Does it need a formal vote? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All right. Motion carries. All right, item D on our active agenda, initiation of zoning code amendment ZA-04-26.
Okay, so this is our second one. So this is our accessory dwelling unit code. So the state made a lot of changes to state accessory dwelling unit code. So you'll see there's a lot of red line on this one. Kind of the biggest things, the biggest takeaways for you. So we're eliminating a number of items and adding under number 1, so an accessory apartment current code for City of Lewiston states shall not exceed 600 square feet or 30% of the habitable square footage of the associated single-family dwelling. That will get pushed to 1,000 square feet or 75% of the habitable floor area of the associated single-family dwelling, whichever is greater. Also, changes, so previously we limited it to 2 bedrooms, so that goes away. So the change there is it has to still adhere to the maximum coverage allowance by the applicable zoning district. So that's either 40% or 50%, depending on whichever residential zones you're in. And then number 3, so the state code says you can't have requirements that are more restrictive than what are required for just a regular single-family dwelling in a zoning district. So that changes the parking requirement to match what it says for just a single-family dwelling. Talks about setbacks if you're going to convert an existing accessory building into an ADU. 5 allows for the accessory apartment to be the same height as the associated single-family dwelling. Removing number 6 and removing number 7, and then bumping what was 8, that'll go up to 6, and just that clarifies the ownership needs to be the same. So those are the changes to match what was adjusted by the state legislature.
Comments, concerns? No, forever hold your peace.
And this will be the same, so it's an initiation, so a public hearing will be scheduled once you guys have initiated.
I'll move to initiate zoning code amendment ZA 0426.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor to initiate zoning code amendment for ZA-04-26, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, so with that, we move on to our last active agenda item, which is a public hearing. Making sure I am right. Public hearing and subsequent deliberation and direction to staff regarding the reason statement for sign waiver application B-26-1 by Zach Christensen of Walker's Furniture. And so I'm just gonna use my cheat sheet here real quick. I should have this memorized, but so just a quick primer for those who are watching online and might watch this again in the future for some reason. Just a primer on how public hearings will work. So I will open the public hearing. We will hear a quick staff presentation on the request. After that, we will take testimony from, or during this time, commissioners can ask questions of staff. Then we will take testimony from the applicants. Commissioners can ask questions of the applicant as well. After that, we will hear testimony from the public. After we hear that testimony from the public, if there is any, then the applicant has an opportunity to provide additional input or rebut anything that's been said in public testimony. And then once that is done, once commissioners have asked all the relevant questions, we will close the public hearing and deliberate on our relevant criteria and standards. So with that said, I'll go ahead and initiate the public hearing.
Good evening, Commission. Katie Hollingshead, Assistant Planner. Tonight, you're looking at VAR 26-1. This is a sign waiver request by Walker's Furniture at 815 Main Street. So like usual, we're gonna go through some maps and a whole lot of photos. Okay, so our subject property is an approximately half-acre parcel. It's located at 815 Main Street. Like I said, it is situated between Main Street and D Street. It contains a furniture store and a parking lot. So it is hashed right here. So entrance from the rear to their parking lot, pedestrian entrance on the front, just like most of our Main Street businesses. Same map, just with our zoning layer turned on. So the red is our C5 commercial zone. So 815 Main is located in our central commercial C5 zone. Zoner, look at my spelling there. And the surrounding uses of the area are all commercial in nature, with some second-story residential apartments located in the buildings south across Main Street or west further down Main Street. Vista Utilities business office is located adjacent on the east side of the building, and there is another furniture and home decor store located adjacent on the east side of the building. Subject property is located in our West End Historic District and was included in the West End Historic District boundary expansion that was finalized in July of 2019 via Ordinance 4741. So the purple area is the entirety of the West End Historic District, which was originally formed in 1976. And our subject property is right here. Okay, so I'm kind of doing this a little bit different just because there's so many sides to the building. And I want to show you the side of the building and then the signage that either was or is being proposed for that side of the building. Just because that's the way it made the most sense in my brain. So hopefully that also works for you guys. Okay, so in this photo, and excuse the sunlight, it was a very lovely sunny day. You can see a vista here. So we're referring to this as the west side of the building. So the applicant is asking for a waiver from the total square footage of signage that is allowed in the West End Historic District. They follow different rules than standard commercial zones do, okay? So based on sign code section 3018, which was included in my staff report, that would be 64 square feet for the subject property. So the way that it works in the historic district is you get so many square feet per street lot frontage. So it's 32 feet per street lot frontage. So since they have two, D Street and Main Street, they get 64.
Okay.
So the applicant is requesting approximately, and I say approximately because when I redid my math, I think it's 365 maybe even, or 365.5. I miscalculated one of their signs. 365.8. I think I'm off by a smidge there. Of square feet of signage. So on this is our west side, there had been two existing signs for Sylvan's, which is the previous furniture store that was there. See, it's kind of small, but they've already been taken down. They're in the process of repainting the building right now. So the two signs that were located there on the west side, so the digital billboard that was right here, not a billboard, but the digital sign right here was 40 square feet. And then this cabinet sign that said Sylvan's mattresses was 85 square feet. They're proposing a new cabinet sign of 170 square feet. So it's 10 feet by 17 feet. And that would look like this on that side. Then, so this is the Main Street entrance of the building. So they have an awning, and the awning kind of stretches along several buildings as you walk down Main Street. So the sign here is called a projecting sign. So that's this little kind of door marker sign. That's the one that I did the math wrong on. So this sign is 15 inches tall by 6 feet wide, so it's 7.5 square feet. This would be a same for same sign, because they would be reusing the metal structure and just sliding a new panel into it. So again, you can see Sylvan's, Walker's, that's what the sign looks like, 6 feet across, 15 inches tall. Utilizes the same metal structure that projects out from the building underneath that canopy. Then, going to the east side of the building on D Street. So this is that larger portion of the building, and then this is an addition that was done later on in time. And so on this one, and I think I mislabeled one of the signs in the staff report, and I called it the north entrance, but it's not. It's this entrance right here, this brick one. And then there's a larger sign here, and then they had another electronic message center on this section right here. So on this side, be replacing big sign here, the sign that goes over the entrance right here, and then that electronic message center would go back up there. So on this side, the previously existing Sylvan's furniture signs were 132 square feet. The proposed Walker's furniture signs are 109 square feet, so a bit of a reduction for those. And then the one that goes over the door, again, Sylvan one was 42.5, the proposed Walker's is 36.5. And then the electronic message center is the same for same, and that one is 42.5 square feet. So you might be asking, why did they have so much signage? So sign code is rewritten in 2017 in its entirety. And previous to that, I included the sections in the staff report for how much signage they could have had, which was, it wasn't really limited, right? There wasn't a square footage limit at that time. When it was rewritten in 2017, C1 and C5, well, all zones have a limit now, but C1 and C5 specifically have a limit that would limit them to, I believe it's 200 square feet. Hold on. Yes, so subject property, so it's done on the lot square footage again. So subject property is one street lot frontage of 75 feet and one street lot of 100 feet. And you get 2 feet per lineal foot of street lot frontage. You get to pick whichever one is bigger. So they would be allowed 200 square feet if they were just in a C5 zone without the historic district or anything else. So the last time Sylvan's got any sort of signage was in 14. So prior to code rewrite, prior to historic district coming into play. So then we're going to go look at kind of just a surrounding area like we normally do. And I'll just point out other signage that other businesses have in this general area. So this is the Walker's building, and this is the buildings next to it. They all, like I showed in the previous photo, they have that canopy that kind of goes the whole length. None of them have signage up above the canopy. I don't know that it would be super visible even if they did, but they don't. They all have those little projecting signs that show kind of where their doors are. And this is just another picture kind of at a different angle so you can see the window signage that those other businesses have. They have those vinyl clings in their windows, utilizing that instead of utilizing space on the top. This is a building across the street, again, doesn't have any above, is utilizing window signage. And then pivoting, so this is the coffee shop that's kind of diagonal from them across the street, also has that projecting sign. There's a business on this side, has a small wall sign. Newberry Square just has their building identifier. And then Largent's also has a projecting sign. And you see quite a few of those through the downtown corridor, just because of the building types, and that seems to be the marker that most people are using. And then on the D Street side, so again, this is Furniture Store that's 2 buildings over. They have some wall signage. This again is prior to current sign code or current historic district code. So if they were looking to replace this, they would probably also be paying this body a visit for a waiver. And then the home decor store next door to Walker's, which is this building, has just, again, a sign over their door. And then looking east, you can see one of the pole signs for an adjacent business. And then looking west, again, you can see a pole sign for an adjacent business. So this staff report is much longer than normal because I did include old sign code, current sign code, historic district sign code. The code pieces were more intensive with this particular one. For the comprehensive plan portion of this, property is obviously located in downtown. Comprehensive plan states a vibrant historic downtown is the heart of Lewiston. Downtown is characterized by its pedestrian orientation, waterfront location, and density with zero setback buildings, which you can see by those party line structures that we have going on here. Provides a wide range of uses such as office, retail, service, residential, and areas for events, entertainment, and public art. The building frames the public right-of-way with continuous commercial frontage, creating a comfortable, walkable environment. I added several goals and objectives from the comprehensive plan that might be applicable for the commission to consider when going through the criteria. One of those being like develop downtown's historic identity, and that's kind of just more paying attention to like the buildings. We've frequently talked about optimizing compatibility and aligning compatible uses within our zones, balancing those land uses, enhancing business recruitment and expansion for relocation support, which is probably one that would very much apply to this situation since Walker's is a newcomer business to the valley. Support business attraction and recruitment efforts. Encourage retail, entertainment, and recreational industries, work with partners to pursue development or redevelopment that attracts retail and entertainment uses in Lewiston, encourage downtown revitalization with improvements, re-envision underutilized retail spaces. All of those things are probably applicable and should be considered by the commission. And then finally, because sign waivers are different than the reason statements you guys usually contemplate and deliberate on. I did include all of those pieces in there, both in the staff report just as like the section from code and then as a reason statement itself. Sometimes it's helpful to look at it in both ways. So the big things I would probably encourage the commission to look at would be things like where it can be shown that requirements of the chapter are going to cause an undue hardship or result in a situation or consistent or condition that's inconsistent with the intent of the chapter. Intent of the chapter was included at the beginning of the staff report. And then it goes through the different criteria. That I would stand for questions. There's a lot in this one, just because it's
Well, since I've done. It's been a
right
while
since we've done the
I've
sign.
done
Yes,
very
Shane.
good.
So just to clarify, so I know for commercial, there's limitations for if it was a roof sign. Is there also limitations in the historic district for roof signs?
Yes, so the signage, square footage is kind of a total, right? So it's just a limit on all of your signage combined. And then specific to, hang on, let me find the historic district part. So in historic districts, you can do wall signs, projecting signs, marquee signs, and graphic signs. I don't,
It's that the wall sign can't be above the.
yeah, so I don't think you can actually do a roof sign. I think that those are, since they're not called out specifically as an allowed sign, they would be an unallowed sign. But none of the signs being requested would be considered a roof sign. They're wall signs, and then the one underneath the canopy is considered a projecting.
Except the digital sign over the mattress store is up on the roof.
That one is. I think we were still calling that one a wall sign. I think that's how it was originally allowed, was as a wall sign.
But it's projecting above.
But yeah, but it's
It does,
not.
yes.
Was there, you may or may not know this, Katie, was there a reason why the signage was the signage limited, the signage was changed to such a significant degree from, I mean, from what I'm following from 2017 to 2019 to, I think the last change was in 2022. They have significantly limited the signage that can be in place.
So the historic district signage was already in place prior to the whole sign code being rewritten. Like that part already existed. This particular building just did not belong, it was not part of the historic district
Okay.
at that time. So the original historic district went to Fifth, from the bridge to Fifth, that was done in 76. They did a boundary amendment in 84, and that extended it not quite to where Sixth would be, it kind of like meandered a little bit. And then in 2015, they received a grant, and the Historic Preservation Commission got a consultant, and they did a much larger footprint, with all the things that are entailed to that, and then did that National Register nomination to expand the district, and that was accepted and then fully.
Okay. So essentially the
Realize it.
boundaries expanded into or over this building.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, after its existing signage was already in place.
Yes, yeah.
We, and I don't recall the exact date, but we had a signage issue where they didn't route through the historic district before they put their signage up.
That was the last variance that you guys did, yes.
Yeah, and there was quite a bit of discussion because, and this is where I'm rusty on it. Since they didn't visit the historic district, or the commission, is it a council commission?
It's a commission.
It's a
Historic
commission, they didn't route the signage they put up through them before they came to us. There was a lot of pushback from the historic commission.
Yes.
And in this particular case, has that step already?
Yes, that's step. So in this particular case, the applicant, Walker's Furniture, followed all the steps they were supposed to.
Okay, I just,
So they came and spoke with staff. They've already gone to the Historic Preservation Commission and applied for their certificate of appropriateness. That has been conditionally approved, because code does not allow them to approve what's not allowed in code. So they need the waiver from you guys
Oh, gotcha.
before they can
Okay.
move forward with being like, yes. But they conditionally approve the signage based on whatever you guys decide here today.
thank you.
Would the message center signs ordinarily be approved in any capacity under the current
No.
rule, in any, no matter where they're placed, whether they're
Yeah,
roof
if it
or
was a
wall?
new one, no. There is a caveat in code that allows for like repair and maintenance of a sign, so like the electronic components can be replaced, and we've had that happen a couple of times,
Sure.
and that's been able to go through. But if someone wanted to put up a brand new one where one did not exist, no, those are not allowed in the historic district.
And the proposal here is for one, which would remove one, because there's currently two.
There's currently two. One would go away, and they would just, like I said, they're currently in the process of painting the building. You guys have driven by, so they've taken all their signage down, and the applicant can speak to this also. And they would just be putting back up that electronic message center that already exists.
Are all the current Sylvan signs, or were the current Sylvan signs lit in a similar capacity?
Yes, yeah, they were all internally illuminated signs.
Similar concept, okay.
Yes.
Any questions, Commission? I think you're off the hook for now, Katie.
Good for so far.
So far. So if the applicant wants to come up and speak, you are more than welcome to. You can just say your name and city of residence.
So my name is Zach Christensen. I work with Walker's Furniture. I really appreciate your guys' time today and allowing us to be able to speak on this. I live in, actually Coeur d'Alene in Hayden, Idaho, so I'm really fortunate to be down here with you guys. We're really excited to come to the community. We've been wanting to be here for over 10 years, and it's just trying to get everything to line up properly, and that, you know, what Walkers can be able to bring to the community, just be part. We're very community-centric and customer-centric, and we want to really focus on that. So the whole point about doing the variance is, you know, with any kind of retail store, especially for furniture, signage is a big driving thing. We're a destination kind of based store. We drive people to an area. That's kind of what furniture does. And so there was a lot of different decisions that we took as a company to where we wanted to be. We've looked at the old Safeway building that was up on Van. We were almost in the point of being able to cut a deal, and we ended up having a conversation with the owner of Sylvan's, which we felt was a better fit, and kind of we were excited to be able to get into that historical district and everything else. With that being said, the reason why we've took all the preemptive steps, this isn't our first time getting into a community that has a historic district. We really value a lot of that. We want to be able to preserve that. We just want to be able to kind of take something that's a little bit more modern and be able to bring it to the community with what we try to provide. So one of our biggest things that when we were talking about with the Sylvan signage is there is a financial hardship just for anything to deal with sign for sign. So if we were to be able to remove signs just to be able to put up less signage to be able to help draw traffic, it does a disservice to our retail outfit. So that's why asking for the variance is important for us. But you'll also be able to see based on our signage is that we are very, we try to make sure that we're not, I hate to use this word as lightly, I don't want to bring it to be trashy in a sense. So our signage is modern, clean, is very cohesive to what you guys are trying to accomplish in the historic district. I wanted to kind of also go on to, we did take in consideration a little bit of the less footprint on some of ours just because of how it laid out on the building. And, you know, I know Katie and I had a conversation regarding the signage that we took where there was 2 to 1. Is I know it's not like a this for that type of thing, but when we're trying to do digital marketing and everything like that, we want to make sure that our digital signage is impactful, you know, and it's not a distraction. Our opinion was on the main street, that digital sign that was already existing was not as impactful, and it didn't have that same look, and it kind of didn't give the perception of what we're trying to go for. The digital signage that was existing on D Street, when we looked at purchasing the building, we were informed that that digital sign was problematic, that there had been there for quite a while, that they have had issues connecting to it. So no matter what we were gonna do, even if we were gonna keep it, we were gonna have to do repairs. So talking with our sign company that we were doing, it is actually more cost effective to just replace it with the new technology instead of trying to put a bunch of money for components that are not, you know, eligible or anything for repair. So that was one of the biggest reasons. I understand the code doesn't allow for digital signage. We will drive traffic no matter what because of our advertising and how we be able to do for the community is our biggest drive and stuff. So we just really, we're putting a modern paint on the building to kind of freshen it up, make it more cohesive with the rest of the district that you guys have done a great job on, you know, really making it. And I know, you know, we had on Monday, we had an appraiser that was actually walking down, and he was actually taking notes of all the empty buildings that were down and there was 11 of them. And so he stopped by and he said, I am so glad that you guys took the opportunity. You could have went somewhere else, but you took the opportunity to come to the historic district to help revitalize it. And we're really excited about it because that's how we are. We're very community driven. And so that building is meaningful to the community. We want to be able to help preserve it and be able to do everything we can, but also bring the value that Walker's Furniture has to the community for customers and everything else. So I don't have anything else. I wanted to, I don't know, my co-part here, John, he could also speak to if there's anything.
I'll say a few things. My name's John Prophet. I'm the managing director. Walkers is a family business, and it operates as a family business. We've grown to, this will be our 13th store, which allows us to order in big quantity and provide lower cost, which I think is really needed down here. In talking with Rachel, she said she had to keep moving her prices up so she didn't have to compete with Wayfair and Costco and Furniture Row and things like that. So I think there's a big need. We anticipate doing about a 30 to 40% increase over what Sylvan was doing based on what we've done in other markets. Growing to that size allows us to operate with all the increases in business costs and things that are a challenge. And in coming down here, like Zach said, we've been looking for many years. Our advertising reaches down here, not as much as you will see more. We advertise a ton because if furniture isn't top of mind, it gets forgotten and they go out of business very easily. So we advertise, and there will be 15 to 20,000 people coming through our door routinely, and we want them to know where we are when they come to town. And so we really fight for our signs to be visible, especially on D Street. With Main Street, we love those trees, even though they block our storefront, like you showed. We love them. We love the walkability. We want to be a part of the community. And a portion of our sales goes directly back to the community. We were actually investing in a local nonprofit here before we even came down, because that is why Mark Walker started the business. Is he felt called to serve his community. And so as Zach said, our three pillars are our coworkers, that we have good employees, we provide good jobs, our customers, that we provide good furniture, and then our community. And that's a huge piece of what Walkers is. So thank you. It's been we've been encouraged by people in grocery stores and walking down the street, and even from Karen, who originally ran Sylvan. So we had talked to her many years ago and said, hey, when the time is right, we'd like to come. And we're happy to be here. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
I did have one question, or maybe this is a question for you, Katie. I don't honestly know. So the Historic Commission approved it. Was there anything that went along with the approval other than just that the approval is contingent on what we decide on for the waiver?
What do you mean, anything that went along?
Well, I mean,
Like input or conditional.
input or conditions, or I hesitate to use the word concern, but like any, I don't know, I call it notes, but were there any?
No, so when the Historic Preservation Commission goes through any certificate of appropriateness that comes through for the West End Historic District, they have criteria that are set by the National Register of Historic Places that they follow through. There are only like 2 criteria, there's like 38 total. There's only 2 criteria that really apply to like signage and things that are not like building related. They thought the signage looked appropriate, and they didn't have any, I think that they were, we'll say encouraged by that some of the signs were going to be smaller, and that only one looked to be increasing a footprint size. They, much like Zach had said, they look more at like the aesthetic condition. Is it flashy? Does it blend in with everything else? And that application had also included the paint job that they're currently doing. And so they thought the whole look was very cohesive. And so they found that it met those 2 criteria, and just did it with that condition because it was asking for more than they are allowed to approve by code, basically. Just with the condition that whatever is decided here on the waiver request, that they were fine with. So there did not seem to be any concerns from them at last week's meeting, or 2 weeks ago meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Is the Walker's furniture and mattress black lettering, is that just gonna be painted on the building? There's not
No.
gonna be a sign.
It's just a cabinet sign that, are you talking about on Main Street?
No, these are.
On D Street, no, it's actually lit signs. It's lit individual LEDs.
Okay.
And so they'll be black during the day and lit LEDs at night.
Yeah, so the white background. So I think in the application packet, oh, I guess there's not. I mean, it says it just doesn't.
Yeah, the one image is kind of flat.
Yes, it's hard to tell from the
Yeah.
image, but it does say that they're illuminated channel letters, which means that they're individual ones and they run on a runner.
Do you allow any third-party advertising on your LED signs?
It'll be advertising of stuff that we sell. So we might have on there a Memorial Day sale or Serta Simmons or something like that. But there will not be, Sneakers gas station on there.
We'll put up here, they're not gonna rent out their signs.
Yeah. I assume so, but I
I
wanted
mean,
to
if
ask.
they want to offset some of the, I'm joking, okay?
Well, don't tell us that
No,
now.
I'm joking.
And then just to confirm, they're the same size, so because in the drawing, they look a little different, but I think Katie said the intent was the same footprint.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And that, like I was saying, is when we were having those conversations with our sign company, it was they're like, we don't even know if we can get the parts anymore. There's a lot of work that goes into it and stuff, and messaging is very important to being able to get it out to the consumer.
Was there any testimony from the public, Katie?
I have one that was sent in, that
Okay.
I'm going to read, because we received this this morning. So it says, "Dear members of the Lewiston Planning and Zoning Commission, I am writing in support of the sign waiver application for Walker's Furniture at 815 Main Street. I understand the applicant is requesting a waiver for the total square footage of signage allowed in the West End Historic District. I support approval of this waiver because the signage appears appropriate for the size, location, and commercial use of the property. Walker's Furniture is a long-standing regional business, and clear, visible signage is important for customers, traffic visibility, and the continued success of a business along Main Street. It is also my understanding that the previous business at this property had signage that was similar in size and character to what is now being requested. If that is accurate, then this waiver would not create a new or unusual visual impact on the area, but would instead allow the new business to continue using signage consistent with the property's prior commercial use. The requested signs would help identify the business, support economic activity, and contribute to the continued use and vitality of the West End Historic District. I believe the waiver is reasonable and compatible with the surrounding commercial area. For these reasons, I respectfully ask the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve sign waiver application V26-1 for Walker's Furniture, subject to any reasonable conditions staff or the commission may find appropriate. Thank you for considering my comments. Sincerely, Tope Lynch, President, Happy Day Restaurants.
Well, Commission, are there any last questions before I close the public hearing and we deliberate?
You want to ask if there's any other public comment from that?
Still?
Oh, sorry. Is there any additional public comment? My apologies.
Yes, please.
My name is Mark Bosch. I live in Genesee, and I am the CEO of the LC Valley Chamber of Commerce. One of the biggest challenges I learned coming here in September is we have a downtown with a lot of vacant buildings. We have a downtown with vacant buildings that are not even kept up. Windows are broke, boards are in the windows. I was asked to speak in January by the City Council on my thoughts and views on the vacant building issues. We have had many businesses that have looked at coming to our Lewiston, our valley, but not always have come through. We have somebody who stepped up and bought a building in the historical area, who have long history of doing the right thing in many communities, and they understand the value of rebuilding and revitalizing downtown. If we were looking at bright T-Mobile purple and colored neon signage, I can understand that'd be an issue. But having very subtle black, backlit white at night, it is big enough to be seen, but not a nuisance. We have the Historical Society who have looked at this, who seems to be one of the biggest challenges of changing things, that said, we are okay with how it looks and the same size. I understand the codes are written to protect, but waivers are there to be used in the right scenarios. This is the right scenario. We have millions of dollars being invested in our town, and they're just asking, can I please just put the same size signs up I had before? that are discreet, that are modern, and they look great. We're trying to grow. This is a sign that the city shows we want to grow. By giving this waiver, you're showing that you want to move forward and help new business come to town. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, so I don't miss any additional public comment if there is any. Sorry about that, Mark, I apologize.
That's okay.
Is there any additional public comments? Anything else? Commissioners, any last questions before we go ahead and close the public hearing?
You gotta remember, the applicant has the last.
Oh, did you have anything else to add? I assume not.
No,
Assumptions are
We're just
dangerous.
thank you for your time.
Perfect, thank you. All right, well, with that, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing. And we will deliberate our relevant criterion standards. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, so forgive me if I'm a little off on how strict we need to be, but for number one, for relevant criterion standards, the minimum waiver necessary to overcome the hardship described in the application. And then, of course, inserting our reasons.
The hardship would be if we didn't allow them the same signage that the previous occupants held. Predominantly because it is a new business. I know our community has a real struggle when we lose companies or when the doors close. And if new signage and discrete colors, we're not talking Dallas Cowboys here, so new signage and the size and presence of it going up tells the community on their daily commute that we now have a new resident, that we are not shuttering the doors, and that is a sign in the right direction. So I think the only hardship would be if we...
I will also say, I think the applicant addressed this, that even those signs are not even really, the current signage is not even really able to be reused, and that's actually not anything that the applicant can overcome, because when pieces of equipment stop being made to repair something, you can't repair it. So I think putting the new signage in there is with the minimum additional footprint, which is essentially the same. I think it honestly is the minimum waiver. Just from the standpoint of, if you can't get equipment to fix the existing signs, you have to put new signs. But again, the new signs are not really expanding the square footage, and as you said, Cynthia, we're not talking T-Mobile bright pink signs. We're talking classy, we're talking fitting in with the area and the community. The Historic Commission has looked it over. I do think it definitely fits this criteria. Anything else to add? All right. I'm just making sure. So number two, whether the granting of the waiver would be detrimental to A, the purpose of Chapter 30 sign code, B, the characteristics of the zone, district, or property in the vicinity of the premises on which a sign is proposed to be located, or C, the objectives of the city's comprehensive plan. Yeah, I think it would be detrimental not to approve it to at least a couple of these.
Absolutely.
So,
To support that, is there anything in any of this that you'd like to point out as what you think, like is there anything in the purposes that supports the waiver, or anything related to the characteristics of the zone, district, or property, and properties in the area or the comp plan that support the waiver?
well, I mean, I can speak to B, because I technically went over that already in number one, but the Historic Commission has looked it over and okayed it. I would defer to the Historic Commission more than my own personal opinion about whether it fits the characteristics of the community. They've looked it over, They've said it looks good. So I can speak to at least B in that sense.
On C, the comprehensive plan is encouraging a robust downtown
Yeah.
corridor.
Yeah.
And we've not been going that direction.
Yeah, I think Mark spoke to it perfectly when he spoke the number of vacant buildings downtown, which are pretty much impossible to ignore, to be honest. And it is the objective of the comprehensive plan to fill those spaces in.
The characteristics of the zone and the property in the vicinity are benefited by economically reasonable businesses.
And more foot traffic downtown.
Absolutely.
Staff report too in regards to the comprehensive plan.
Like me to include the entire
Yes, please.
section from the comprehensive plan that was in the staff report in the reason statement.
All right, moving on to number 3, whether conditions should be attached to the granting of a waiver to achieve the purposes of Chapter 30. Necessarily, I don't think we need to attach any conditions, to be honest.
It's replacing existing signage in
Yeah.
similar capacity.
I think the only condition would be the HPC approval,
Oh, yes, okay.
as required by city code.
So as long as they're following
It's a little
city
bit
code.
like wonky, because HPC requires the planning and zoning, but then, you know, to some degree, for them to do it, they have to get the HPC
Right, yeah.
approval.
I mean, essentially, it's just following all applicable codes.
And that was more of a timing situation.
Yeah, sure. So number 4, whether granting the waiver in full or part would improve the appearance of the sign, building, or premises on which the sign is proposed to be located. And I think we've somewhat addressed this, and I know the applicant addressed it in that the signs are going to look better, they're going to be newer. I mean, in multiple cases, we've heard they fit in the community. Again, the Historic Commission has looked at it, believes they look good. So I have no concern that this would not improve the appearance of the building or premises, along with the coat of paint that they're also going to throw on the building.
The sign sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the design of their sign too is good for our historic downtown. It fits that historic furniture look, and so it'll blend in nice. I like the 2-to-1 on the west side. I think that's a way bigger improvement.
Yeah.
Getting rid of a digital sign. If the digital sign was on Main Street, I would probably be opposed to it being there because it just wouldn't fit. But since it's on D Street, it doesn't bother me that much. But the one that was there always bugged me because it just didn't fit the historic site. So I think it's definitely a step forward.
Agreed. Number 5, whether inherent difficulties in terrain exist on the premises on which the sign is proposed to be or is located.
Well, if I might add, the west-facing wall that we were just discussing is really tall and really broad. And by filling it in with the proposed sign, it actually is, it reminds me more of the historic districts that would slap those signs up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, far more so than what was there prior.
2 smaller signs that were kind of disconnected from each other. Yeah.
Very dated.
So again, number 5, whether inherent difficulties of terrain exist on the premises on which the sign is proposed to be or is located. I'd say in this case it's not applicable,
Not applicable.
but that's not due to the fault of the applicant. So and then number 6, whether the proposed waiver is in conflict with the public interest. I think we've discussed this a little ad nauseum, but I would say not approving the waiver is in is in conflict with the public interest for the reasons that we've discussed, from driving traffic downtown to filling in space downtown to look and feel of the community as well.
I would say one repeat feedback we get from our generic public is how unwelcoming we are to new businesses.
And how difficult it is for new businesses
we
to
are.
operate here and what they have to go through. And I think this is in a small way to rectify that, or at least show the public that
I agree.
we want to bring businesses
We're
here.
hearing them and
Yeah. Agree.
The public comment we did have was in support of the sign.
Yes, absolutely.
Real quick, I jump back to 5 just to avoid staff from yelling at us. I think the answer to that would be no. So, just to clarify,
Chastise.
it's always applicable, but the answer is no.
No, not applicable, was that not the correct answer?
There's interpretation that goes into your statement.
All right, well, with that, we've gone through our relevant criteria and standards. So with that, Commission, I will take a motion to direct staff to move forward in a direction.
Well, hold on, does Maureen want to provide any comments?
I think everything has been covered pretty well. I am in absolute agreement. I think that the size of the sign is more than appropriate for the size of the building. I 100% agree with Kyle in that, having the digital more on the backside, the north side of the property as compared to the downtown Main Street. And I'm just really excited to see a new business opening that is taking the time to not only update the building with the signage, but the fresh paint job. And I think it's really nice to see that somebody's putting in the effort to drive business downtown. And the fact that the historic district is in approval of it is just an added bonus, because I know oftentimes historic districts are one of the biggest hurdles that a business has to jump over in order to achieve something like this. And I think it speaks volumes that they've already approached them and made sure that the signage is satisfying their desires, their wants. And so I see no reason not to approve it.
I think I could have said it better myself. So with that, Commission, a motion is,
So I would motion to direct staff to draft the reason statement approving the 26-1.
it has been moved and seconded to approve approve the reason statement for sign waiver application V-26-1. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Right. Motion carries. It is unanimous.
Thank you, everyone.
Really
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming down.
Yeah. Appreciate the support and encouragement.
Thank you. All right, so that takes us out of our active agenda, Commission. So just moving right along to number 4, staff commission communications. Katie, do you have anything for us?
So we do have public hearing scheduled for the next meeting on the 27th. And I believe we have a plat on that one also. That has the potential to be a large public hearing that is for the up zone. I did send out 980 notices. So.
Did we, my memory is failing me. When we discussed it prior, did we receive a decent chunk of public comments?
Not really.
Not really, but it wasn't a public hearing, so.
Correct, yeah, so previously, so about 2 months ago, I sent out just a letter to all 704 properties that will be affected by the rezone. We received between 20 and 30 either phone calls, emails, or contacts. A handful of those were negative or against, most of them were
That's
just
right, that's
asking
what I remembered.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was one that you were not at when I gave that last update. And so, yes, so the notice ran this last Sunday in the paper. It was 2 pages, so if you missed it, I don't know how you did. And then we got the 980 notices out, and then on Monday, me and the building official will be driving around and posting signs all over the place. Yeah. We'll have,
Residential rezone,
yes,
with like Sunset Park and all
yes,
that.
yes,
I
yes,
got that letter.
yes.
I didn't respond.
So yeah, so we just have, so there'll just be that and then a plat,
Okay.
a preliminary plat, are gonna be the only 2 items on that, agenda.
Fortunately for Katie, she realized after she sent all those notices, she didn't have to mail all those notices.
But I told people I would, so I'm a person of integrity and I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do.
Katie goes above and beyond.
So yes, once you're over 200, you don't have to do a mailing like that, but we did. And it was like half my office had to participate in that to get it all done, so we did our.
5 boxes of envelopes later.
So that's also, is anyone not able to attend on the 27th?
Should be here.
Having a quorum is gonna be important.
Should be here.
Everybody show up? Okay, I love you all. And that's all I have.
All right, well, with that, Commission, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you for your work, Commission.
Appreciate you guys very much.
Yeah, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Jennifer.
Nice to meet you, Jennifer. Nice to meet you.